everyone, and welcome to the very first Zoom interview episode as part of LGBT History Month for Wolds Pride. Now, this month, we're going to be releasing a series of interviews with various fabulous, generous, gorgeous people throughout our community, talking about real-life experiences, having honest conversations, and hearing about their stories. And today, we are starting with someone very special within the Yorkshire community. He has done so much for us. He's involved with every organisation going, and he is called Andy Train. Hi, Andy.
Hello. Oh, there's the camera. I'm on.
There you are.
Goodness me. There's that little delay, and then there I am.
How are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm very good. Thank you for joining us.
That's all right. You're very welcome. Very exciting.
So, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, can you please give us a brief introduction of what you identify as, what you do for work, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm Andy Train. I think before I came out, I was more known as Andrew. It's kind of a bit of a transformation that occurred. I don't always have weird coloured hair. Sometimes I have a beard, sometimes I don't. Originally, I trained as a nurse. I worked in accident emergency. I still do, as a self-employed person, lots of training opportunities, mostly with GP surgeries and dental practices. I do a lot of performing in a sense of voice mainly, but also some character stuff. So wear a big red suit at Christmas and a top hat for Thomas and Friends, and just absolutely love all the variety. So that's basically who I am and what I do. And my pronouns are he, him, his. And since coming out, I've kind of rambled along from I stepping stoned as bisexual, then said that I was actually, because it's easy sometimes to say you're fully gay, but actually I do realise in hindsight and the experiences I've had partner-wise that I'm possibly more pansexual than I am fully gay. So there you go.
Thank you for that. And of course, you are involved with plenty of organisations. You've worked with Pride in Hull. You've worked with Hull and LGBT Forum. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I had a bit of a rough ride when I came out. I mean, I do remember being. I think my earliest experience of kind of feeling that I was perhaps different was at school, but it was of the period as shown in It's a Sin, where it was the 80s and it was illegal for anybody to talk about, encourage or support anything that was different from being heterosexual. So zero support. So very much involved with the church as far as the choir goes. So there was no help there at that time. It was all very much kind of like, that's what you do.
Very regimented.
Oh, totally. And the family pressure was on because you're the last train. So you're the last one, and you've got to have kids, and you've got to, all this was all in my head, of course. At the end of the day, parents just want you to be happy. So I got married, I had a baby daughter, and it despite having all these different things happening for me in a really positive way, and like job, house, car, things that everybody, often will aspire to. I know there's much more to aspire to, but I just felt there was something not quite right. And I went for counselling, and it all came spilling out that perhaps there were other things going on in my head, other things that from an early age that I'd not really kind of acknowledged, or was in maybe complete denial, really. And I then became what my American friends call gay with delay. And it wasn't even as if I was seeing anybody else or whatever. It just sort of all came out, and it was a bit messy. But the point is that I was looking for help. I was looking for somebody to talk to, and there wasn't anything. Now, if I'd been a younger person in Hull at the time, this is the early 2000s. This was Queer as Folk was a big thing that sort of really kind of showed
around
me
that time.
Other things. It seemed very exciting, and there was this mecca of Manchester and Canal Street and all of that offered. Or
the promised land.
Yeah, very, very. It's all very different when you're there, but it's just lovely having lots of different venues.
Yeah,
you can go from genre to genre and place to place, and 1 minute you're in you're going downstairs into like that bar on Police Academy where they fall into it, and it's very dark and it's very leathery, and there's like camo netting, and they're all dancing to some really camp tunes, or it's very 80s. And then you can go upstairs and you can be hanging out with twinks in GAY. It's all very, very different kind of places, but all literally there. Whereas coming from somewhere like Hull, where often what you'd call the gay night was just the odd occasional night that a normal discotheque or venue or club would do as a special, as a one-off. So I came out. It was a bit messy. It was a bit scary. Had a lot of support from MESMAC.
Fantastic organisation.
Oh, fantastic! And I, I had to go to York because there was nothing in Hull. So there's nothing in Hull. If I'd been young or I'd been at university, then I would have been catered for.
Yeah.
That was the upshot, and got involved very early with this thing called the Hull and East Riding LGBT, and we added the plus forum, and it was as it is now, fundamentally an opportunity for organisations that give a damn about anybody in the LGBT plus community and their friends and family and allies. And they met on a monthly basis on the second Wednesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. at the Guildhall in Hull, which I thought, wow, all this oak panelling, lovely place.
Yeah, very nice venue.
Have an agenda, go through it, you find out what's going on. But despite a lot of people who come to the meeting expecting to find their future love of their life, very disappointed. The
mixed bag of attendees then.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've had people ring me up and demand that I take them to the theatre or something. It's kind of, that PC Danny Fleming, he needs to get a life. But no, bless him. It kind of went from there. So I kind of made it my business that, rightly or wrongly, that nobody in my position in the future should feel like that there should be opportunities and there should be support and networks and somebody, whoever, in whatever organisation. I know AIDS Action had been on the go, and they became Cornhouse Yorkshire, and brilliant because they supported me as well in the city in the early days. They didn't officially cater for adults, or as I found that on the gay scene, just over 30 years of age. So, God, you're an old git already. So it's been really, really hard, and it's been 30 years old, and then going back in my head to feeling like a teenager again. Rediscovering relationships.
You never had that when you were younger.
Didn't have anything. So it was always those camp comedians on TV. Didn't relate to them. There was no Tom Daly. There was no even Graham Norton. There was nobody who was credible and professional up there that you could go, yeah, I relate to them. I can see that's a not a lifestyle choice, but that's somebody who is doing well and who is fairly grounded.
Role model.
Yes, absolutely. And that wasn't there then. So here I am now. Yeah.
And what a way we've come. I mean, if we look at modern day pop culture now, like we mentioned It's a Sin earlier, and things like that 20 years ago just were never around on TV. It wasn't a thing. And it took, even to get this on TV, it took a big battle even nowadays. So we can only hope things will get better.
Chucking around all these, and still finding pockets of prejudice.
Yeah.
Even though people say, oh, no, we have a policy for that. Oh, no, we fly a rainbow flag. We support it. We fly your LBGT people. And it's kind of like, you kind of think, you can't get the letters in the right order, or have you got any, so what are your policies of supporting your staff? Do you have a staff network? What do you think about if somebody came in, two guys come in your shop, they're holding hands. So how do you feel about that? And it's this pinkwashing things. And it's a start of having a rainbow flag up and supporting like a pride event. But actually, are you supporting it?
Yeah.
Are you supporting your customers, your people, your family? Do you use the right language? Are you, are you challenging people? Are you a good
the awareness, the education? Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned earlier on, we said It's a Sin, and we mentioned that era. And when you were growing up, was that still a thing, the stigma with HIV and AIDS? Was there a lot of homophobia, discrimination when you were younger?
The word queer was a very different, and there'll be somebody watching this who that will give a chill to, because the word queer was usually added to a swear word. So you'd have it as an insult in the playground. You'd hear it used on TV. Strangely enough, my dad dropped me off. I mean, I did do a little bit of part-time work working at Fuel nightclub in Hull, And one evening, so I'd do all these comedy characters and dress up and sometimes DJ and whatever. I mean, it seems a bit kind of wow, now, but I had great fun, and it was to be immersed fully. I'm one of these people who can't just be watching and sat there going, oh, this is very nice.
Just dip the toe in.
Have to get in, have to be involved, have to
Jumping in the deep end.
Have to be singing, have to be doing something, have to be, involved. And I said to my dad, oh, can we, when you drop me off at field, can we pick up a drag queen friend of mine, Gavinia, and he would quite happily, this is somebody who, I thought would never accept me for me being me, and true and authentic, and picked me, well, obviously picked me up, picked her up, dropped us off, and I just said to him, I said, look, it's as far as you're concerned, you please use the pronouns, she, her. It's a lady, that's it, end of. And the last thing he said as we got out the car for me to go into the club, he said, you be careful and don't go with anybody who's queer. But he didn't mean it in that sense. He meant an old-fashioned sense of something that wasn't quite right, or somebody perhaps that was wrong, or would be potentially dangerous or dodgy. Yeah. And it's been that process of changing that. But I think back then at school, it's an all-boys school. I mean, gosh, you think about, fantasy-wise, I mean, amazing. I mean, I do know people who I was in the sixth form with who you kind of, there was suspicions, there was inklings, there was, inclinations, and it wasn't until we'd left school and they went off to university that they had that opportunity, as a lot of younger people, have. They keep, at school, a lid on everything and at home. And when you get out into the wider world and you have that chance to explore your gender identity, explore your sexual orientation in a safe way, and that's the other people who are like you, and supportive organisations and societies that will say, yeah, you can do that. And we have, by the way, we have a gay night, we have a Dungeons and, I don't know what Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons group. I was in the Dungeons and Dragons group at school. All the signs were there, mate. All the signs were there. In the choir, wearing cassets. Yeah. No, I'm joking. But it wasn't at all supportive. And Section 28, which is obviously in its sin as well, was rife. It was a Conservative government at the time, and it was frankly absolutely shocking. And I do feel robbed and denied that chance to be, and all those other people who have suffered since, and it wasn't, I mean, age of consent was 21, just ridiculous inequalities for people. And you couldn't even be in the armed forces.
I know. And then even to this day, we look at the trans-military ban a few years ago with Trump, and he reversed everything that people had worked so hard to get. And luckily we're heading into a place where things are going to be good again, and things are going to get better again, hopefully, looking at the new power in America. But still a long way to go. There still is a long way to go.
For me, it's keeping an eye on the ball, and I think that's the thing, and that's why we have to have still prides and events and other chances like LGBT History Month, so that we can keep our eye on the ball, and we can say, look, we're maintaining this pressure, because as soon as you let that pressure go, it's going to regress, it's going to fall back. And that's exactly the type of thing that's happened in America. These fought for rights and chances and opportunities, we need to keep on going. And people said to me, when will you stop Pride? When will you, not me personally, but when have I had enough time?
Why do you have it? Why is it a thing?
Why continue doing it? You've got everything. You can get married now. You can have kids. You can do all the things. You're protected by law, the Equalities Act. It's all there for you. It's good. It's all on a plate. Until the world feels like a Pride event. People who've never been before, it's just full of love. It's just full of love and happiness and fun and colour and glitter and glamour and giggles and smiles.
Is that what it means to you, do you think? All those things you've just listed how do you feel when you're there? What do you get when you're there at a Pride event?
It's just, you just fill up. And when I look, you just feel as if your cup is filling up, your heart is filling up, and you feel the joy and the love. And on stage looking out over, I mean, like for Pride in Hull, how, you know, obviously first UK Pride, all of that, all these accolades, you know, being involved with a team that makes it work, people who have got skills, and we've got a fantastic chair in Jamie, and, you know, we've got all these other people in the team that do really good work. You know, it's not everybody's job to look after money, but we've got somebody who does that really well. You know, but all of these things all have to be in there. And when that rainbow flag goes over that crowd, and it's over that, and you can see everybody joining in, and we do this affirmation thing, and I know everybody kind of like, go, YMCA, very stereotyped, you know, Trump, get off it, you know, and thank goodness it's gone now, we can have it back. But everybody's standing in that area and actually doing YMCA together, and looking out, and you can see this sea of people affirming that we're all there together, and we all are here together. It's like saying to everybody, right, put your hand up if you're happy. If you're happy to be here, put your hand in the air. Go on, stick your hand right up. And you see that, and people are going, yeah, I'm happy, you're happy, I can see people around me. And YMCA, and they do it, and you just go, emotion, wave of emotion, and all that is. And it's just lovely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've only been to a handful of Prides in the UK myself, but the most recent one I went to was London Pride a few years ago. And obviously that's one of the biggest in the country, if not the biggest. And just the amount of people, the amount of support, and not just in central London, every train you get on the day, everywhere you go, there's a rainbow or a person or someone who's fearless. And it's just so inspiring to see. Even for me, I'm out and proud. I've been that for 10 years now. But still I get that feeling where I'm like, wow, you don't care. You're just being yourself. And it's beautiful to see.
And it's lovely for, you know, again, yes, we would say younger people, and I think LGBT plus History Month gives schools and colleges and universities that special chance to integrate this type of discussion into their syllabus, and they can look at you know, other things, and having a theme is a, you know, it's just like, well, what's the theme this year? Well, it's going to guide you. You know, you can do that. School's out. You know, it's all there online, and you know, I think Pride's, you know, create that visibility that you wouldn't ordinarily see when you're out and about. And I think, you know, when people say to me about the rainbow flag flying, I think performing internationally and being in somewhere like, I've never been back, but Israel, amazing, and just outside Tel Aviv, and finding this venue, this club, cafe type place with a rainbow flag, and going, hang on a minute, is this a gay bar? You are LGBT friendly venue? And they said, well, actually, we've taken it to the next level. We want everybody to come. Well, we welcome everybody, but you've got to behave yourself, and we've got to respect other people, and you are welcome. Yeah. And so that's that symbol, that sign, you know, that Gilbert Baker developed all those years ago in 1978. You know, it's just an amazing, powerful thing. Yeah.
And I think you really hit it on the head there with not just with colleges and schools, it's that opportunity with workplaces, even within our own community. I mean, there's things that I've learned already through this, doing research and preparation for this month, that I never knew. Yeah. And I pride myself on being quite clued up about my community and my history, but there's so much we can learn as a community, looking back and paying tribute and paying respects, reflecting on our own experiences, people before us, and looking forward to the future, where we've got to go.
Yeah, and the yes, okay, it's a sin, and HIV/AIDS, how far that has come. You know, I'm hoping people won't think that that's how the response is now from the world of the medical profession or charity organisations support people. It's so much different, and on medication, undetectable. You're not going to give it to anybody, you know, and it's just like, wow, you know, just so far on.
Yeah, and if you would have told somebody 30 years ago, in the midst of all this, saying there is going to be a day when it can be undetectable, it can be, everyone's going to be accepted in this country, you wouldn't have believed it. It's in such a short amount of time we've come so far, and although we've got some way to go, we're in a very good place, with a very strong community, and it's beautiful.
Definitely. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, thank you so much, Andy, for coming on today. It's been such a lovely chat, and I think it's been very insightful for everybody watching, hearing about your experience in the past and your thoughts on the future as well. So thank you very much.
Have a great month.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers now.